Hello and welcome to my channel Crafty Fox DIYs. In this video I'm going to share some awesome Halloween DIYs with you. I have an adorable ghost family and a banner along with some others including the garden flag that I talked about in a previous video. Okay, let's get started. For this first project I am making a banner that I'm going to hang on my mantle. I got these pumpkin and witch hat cutouts from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to paint the pumpkins with Pumpkin Orange by Apple Barrel. This is only going to take one coat of paint. They have all different wood cutouts at Dollar Tree, but whenever I was choosing which ones I was going to buy and I was pulling them off of the shelf, I kind of overlapped the witch hat and the pumpkins, and it made me come up with this idea to put the witch hats on the pumpkins. So now I'm painting the witch hats purple. I also made two other pumpkins with witch hats. I turned the witch hats the opposite direction and I painted those black. Now I'm using hot glue to secure the witch hats to the top of the pumpkins. I'm also going to use some ribbon for the purple hats. I'm using this black and white ribbon that I'm just going to glue around the hats. For the black hats, I used orange and black ribbon that says Boo on it. And I'm just securing the ribbon onto the hats using hot glue. You could add other embellishments to these if you want, but I just chose to keep them a little more simple and only add the ribbon. But you could put on fake spiders or cobwebs, spider webs, whatever you would want to do, whatever fits into your decor. Now, so that the pumpkins will look like they are glowing, I decided to add some yellow construction paper to the back. And you can use black if you would want to, or you could also not do this at all. It's completely optional, whatever suits your decor. So just keep trimming the construction paper until it fits. And then once I get one of them cut, then I'm going to use that as my template for the second one. I'll just make cutting it out easier. And then I'm going to use Mod Podge to secure the construction paper to the back side of the jack-o'-lantern. It just takes a thin coat to hold on the construction paper. And I'm going to do that for both of these. And there's the other two that I made with the black hats. Okay, now I'm going to add the rest of the banner. I'm cutting a 6-inch piece of burlap. Burlap was 12 inches wide, and then I just cut a piece that was 6 inches long. And then I'm using my ruler there to measure out 4 inches. So each of these pieces of burlap are 4 by 6 inches. And I'm just putting a strip of hot glue at the top, and I'm folding it over with some jute twine in there, and this is going to allow me to tie the banner pieces onto a piece of rope without having to secure them to the rope. I have used this rope a couple different times for different banners, and this way that way I don't have to use up a bunch of rope. I know it's not real expensive, but it just saves a little bit of, over time. So then I'm just going to freehand my letters onto the pieces of burlap. You could use whatever word you wanted to. I chose to just go with Boo, but you could even make it longer, make it say Happy Halloween or Spooky, whatever suits your decor. And now I'm taking the end of the paintbrush and I'm dipping it in the colors purple, orange, and yellow, and I'm making dots on the burlap around the letters. And I'm going to do this for all 3 of my letters. Once again, the colors were orange, yellow, and purple. And then once I get all of those done, it will be time to secure the pieces to the rope. Now, I don't show it in between, but I do use my hair dryer to make sure the paint is dry before I move on to the next step. Okay, so now here I am taking that jute twine, and that's what I'm using to tie the pieces onto the rope that I just have it hanging off of my mantle. I'll be moving it later because right now it's hanging down a little more than I want it to, but I find it easier to adjust it and get exactly how I want it once I have all of the pieces on. So I'm just spacing out the letters because I'm going to be tying the jack-o'-lanterns with the witch hats on them in between. One's going to go before the letter B, and then in between the B and O, and then in between the two O's, and then at the very end. And I'm going to alternate the colors as well. So first I'm starting off with the black ones, and then I will be tying on the purple ones. And I'm just using jute twine to do that as well. The witch hats and the jack-o'-lanterns both had holes in them, so I just left those holes there, and that's what I'm using to tie them onto the piece of rope. You could also use ribbon or tinsel. They even have Halloween tinsel, like the black tinsel, and they have like orange pumpkins on them. I think I've seen some with white ghosts and black bats as well. You could use something like that and tie these pieces onto it as well, and it would look cute. Okay, so there it is all put together, and I'm just going to adjust it, get it in place exactly where I want it. So cute, I just love it. Okay, for the second project, I am making a ghost family. I'm using these Nescafe instant coffee jars. I myself don't drink them, but I have people save things that I can craft with for me all the time, and I have a lot of these, so I decided to make an adorable ghost family. Now this is an applesauce cup, and it's plastic. I am just going to coat it with some Mod Podge so that way it will, the paint will stick to it easier. And now I am making a headband for the mom ghost. I just took a piece of wire and bent it into a shape that would go over the lid of the jar. And now I am taking this Spanish moss, it's the brown, and I am hot gluing it to the piece of wire. Just going to make sure that I have the wire covered. You can't see it. I tried to think of something that I could put on the mom ghost that wouldn't be the same as the dad ghost, because the applesauce cup I am going to turn into a hat for the dad ghost. And so I didn't want to put a hat on the mom ghost as well. And I myself like to wear headbands. So I thought this would be a good idea to make for the mom ghost. So like I said, I'm just gluing that moss on there until there is no more wire showing. And then I'm going to take a little flower. You could add whatever embellishments you want to your headband. You could go with more of a Halloween theme and do spiders or something like that. But I chose to make mine a little more girly, and so I'm adding a little pink flower and an orange pumpkin. The, the little orange pumpkin was in a bag of filler that I got from Goodwill, and I think it originally come from Hobby Lobby, if I recognize my price tags. And so that's what I did for that. Now that the Mod Podge is dry on the applesauce cup, I am going to paint it black. I'm just going to put one coat on here because it's not going to show through or anything. Now for the eyes of my ghosts, I'm using these buttons. They have little eyes on the back, so I'm just using these cutters to cut those eyes off. Now here's some more embellishments I have. I have a little bat that's on a wire and some pieces of black and white ribbon, and I'm putting a tea light down inside the ghost. I'm making the baby ghost here. I'm just taking a piece of vintage lace and I'm going to tie it around. Now the reason why I'm not gluing anything down is so that way it can all be taken apart and the candles turned off. I'm sure it would be a way, like if you had the fairy lights, you could string the battery pack out, before you screw the lid on, and I think that would work just fine. But I didn't have any in a color that I wanted. I had only colored ones, and I didn't want colored ghosts, multicolored ghosts, not for Halloween or anything. So, and then I'm also taking a little piece of that vintage lace ribbon and gluing it to the top of the little ghost's head. Now I am going to be making the mom ghost, and I'm going to put the tea light down in there. And then I'm going to put this is, I'm not sure what it is, something else I had given to me, but it works just fine. It's kind of like a thick handkerchief napkin kind of thing, but that's what I'm using. But you could use tissue paper, just a piece of white material, a cut up pillowcase, whatever you want to use. And then once I get this string tied around, then I smooth out where her face is, and then I glue the eyes on. And then after I get the eyes glued on, then I'm going to put her little headband on. That is so cute. I love this little family. I think they are so adorable. Now I'm going to make the dad ghost. Once again, I'm putting the tea light down into the jar. It was real easy to remove the labels from these jars. I just filled them full of hot water and then soaked them in hot water. The weight inside from the hot water helped keep them held down. And after 15, 20 minutes, I came back and checked on them, and some of them, the labels just fell right off as soon as I touched them. But there were one of them I had to, I think it was the smallest one actually. The label stuck the most on, but it was still fairly easy to get it off. And then once again, I'm doing the dad ghost. I'm taking a piece of that black and white striped ribbon and I'm going to make him a bow tie. Just use some hot glue to secure the ribbon together, and then I'm taking a pipe cleaner and we're going to pinch the ribbon in the middle, use the pipe cleaner. I'm going to wrap it around a few times, and then I'm going to leave a piece on the back so that I can make sort of a clip-on bow tie. But like I said, I want to be able to take this apart so that I can turn the tea lights off later. So I'm just going to, the rope that I tied around for his neck, I'm just going to use the pipe cleaner to hold that onto that rope. Now I'm going to take this ribbon, I'm going to trim it down a little bit because it was just a little too wide to make to go around the little ghost hat. And then I'm just going to wrap it around and trim the ribbon off a little bit so that it fits the right size that I want it to. I'm having mine kind of crisscross and hang over a little bit, but you wouldn't have to do yours that way. Now this little bat I have, it came off of a sign that I had gotten, and I had it hanging outside and it did not hold up outside. So the parts started falling off of it, but I saved all of the parts, and so I decided to use that on this little hat. But you could add whatever embellishments you want. You could even make your own little bat sticking out like this by getting like a wooden bat or a bat sticker, something like that, and putting it onto a wire and then gluing it underneath the ribbon. Now I'm gluing on the dad ghost button eyes, and we have our whole adorable little family put together. Okay, for this third project, I am making a garden flag. Now I want my garden flag to be about 12 inches, and I want the part at the top where the garden flag holder is going to go through to be about 2 inches. So I'm going to have 2 inches folded over and then 10 inches hanging down. And then I'm also going to put a piece of the black and white striped ribbon on the bottom. Now, once I have that folded over where I want it, then I'm going to use some matching thread and I'm going to sew this up across. Now, I have done this using hot glue, using the Gorilla hot glue sticks, and it has held up just fine. But I decided to sew this one instead, and then I'm going to go with some black ribbon and sew, or black thread, and sew the ribbon onto the bottom. Like I said, I have done this using hot glue, but I decided to sew it this time just to see how that does. I haven't had any trouble. I have a flag out that I've had out all summer, and it has held up just fine. Now, if you want to make a double-sided one, which is what I done for the summer one, then you would just do like I'm doing here, measure out your burlap and fold it over like so, and then you would either glue or sew to make your pocket for the rod to go through for your garden flag holder. And now I'm taking black paint and a sponge brush, and this paint is meant to be used indoor or outdoor. It is by Fantastory. It has held up very well for me on all of my outdoor projects that I have. I wish they sold it in bigger bottles. Okay, so I do it in black, and then I also use a deep purple to help fill in some of the spots. Now I'm using this skeleton stencil, and I'm just using white. And once again, it's that Fantastory paint that is indoor-outdoor safe. I have also used Folk Art. They have an indoor-outdoor paint, and I've had no issues with it as well. But the Fantastory, I do seem to think that it is better. So then, like I said, I just stencil on my skeleton, and then off to the corner, I am also going to have a little spider hanging down from, some spider web, like that. It's so fun, and I think it's great you can make your own flags. Okay, now for this next project, I am making a witch picture. I'm just using one of the canvases from Dollar Tree, and I'm taking my X-Acto knife and I'm going around on the outside of the staples to remove the canvas from the frame because I am going to make this a framed picture instead of just having it on the canvas. So then once I get the canvas part cut off, then I'm going to remove the excess that is stuck underneath the staples. And it was simple just to cut it and then pull it off of there. And so I was able to remove it all off. It wouldn't really be necessary to do because it's on the back, but I just wanted it to look a little cleaner, a little more finished. So then I spread out the canvas, and I'm going to once again use my X-Acto knife to trim the canvas down so that I cut off all the excess that I don't want to be sticking out from around the frame. Once I do that, then I'm going to lay the frame back onto the canvas just to make sure that I have it cut just right. Because like I said, I don't want any extra sticking out. So I just go ahead and take my scissors and trim it down just a little bit more. And then that seemed to work good. Now to paint the picture, first I'm going to paint my frame. That way it can be drying while I am working on the canvas. And I'm just going to paint it black. And then later, after I have the picture done, then I'm going to dry brush some gray paint onto it. Now I'm taking that black paint and I am going all over the canvas with it. I'm not going to do full coverage. You'll see why in a minute, but I just kind of put some on there just to help give the background, some dimension. And now I am taking a pale gray color and going over the black. And I'm just blending the two together. I didn't let the black dry. I just immediately started going over the black paint with the pale gray. Then once I get the whole canvas covered, then I am going to take my hairdryer and dry it. And then I'm going to go back over it with the pale gray color again. This is a light gray. I don't remember the exact color. I will put it in the description, though. It is also, these paints that I'm using are also all by Fantastory. And anyway, it's a light pale gray color. And then I dry that, and now I am going to paint on some trees. These are just some spindly little creepy Halloween trees. And I just drew some simple trunks, and now I'm doing branches and limbs, just making them crisscross and windy, and just so it looks like a spooky little forest that the witch is going to be walking through. And now I'm taking just I'm not sure what kind of brush this is, but the bristles were very soft, and so I'm just using it to make a witch silhouette. Now I'm using a deep purple color. This purple is so deep that on the screen right now, it looks black. In person, you can see the purple to it, but on the screen, it looks like I'm just using black. But anyway, I am just making a witch silhouette. If you're not a great painter, that's fine, because when you're making silhouettes, it's very easy to just, at least people will have an idea of what you're trying to make. So that's why I decided to just go with the silhouette. That way it's something that most people would be able to pull off. And now I'm taking a fan brush and I'm getting some black paint on there, and then taking most of the black paint off, and I'm starting from the bottom and working my way up to make it look like like the tall grass and stuff that grows in the forest. And now I'm using the same brush that I used to draw the trees to make her arms and her hands, and then I'm also going to make her some little feet. Just want to make sure you kind of have your feet pointed in the right direction so that you can tell that she's walking away from you and not to you. So then after I do that, then I'm going to take my fan brush and I'm going to pull some more black up front from the bottom up to add some more of the tall grasses in there. Okay, now once that's done and dried, and like I said, I'm going to dry brush on some gray paint. Oh, that's right. First I took my stapler because these frames, I don't think they're put together the greatest. So I just wanted to make it a little more secure, so I put some more staples in there. Okay, now I'm going to dry brush on the gray paint. Just a little touch. And then I'm going to glue the canvas onto the frame. I just started off by putting some glue on the top and then pressing the canvas down, and then going the rest of the way around with hot glue and finishing off, gluing the canvas onto the frame. Then I go back in with my stapler to secure the canvas onto the frame a little more. It's definitely not coming off of there. And I'm taking some spider web. This is just, I got this at Big Lots at the end of the year last year. I think I paid like 40 cents for it or something. That's the best time to get anything, is when the season is over with. And then I just stretch it and hot glue it so it stays in place. Just to give it a little extra spookiness. This is a part that you don't necessarily have to do. It's just entirely up to you. Okay, for this last project, this is a lantern that I made a while back. I will include the video. I'll put that link to it in the description of me making the lantern. I'm not going to go through those steps now, but I will put it in the description box so you'll know how I went about it. And what I'm doing is putting some new slats in. This time, instead of farmhouse though, it is going to be Halloween. So I'm just using the stencils that I have of different Halloween things, jack-o'-lanterns, witches, ghosts, whatnot. And I'm going to stencil those onto the little window slats in the lantern. There's different things you could use to make the slats in a lantern. And I'm not sure where I got this from, but it's just some really thick plastic. And it already had kind of like the smoky look to it. But you could use cutting boards, you know, those flexible cutting boards from Dollar Tree. That would be one good thing that you could use. Originally, I had used, it was a lid from like a pie plate thing. That's what I had used on the original one that you saw me take out with the farmhouse designs on it. And then when you put the slats back in, you want the painted side to go in. So you can see all of the designs there. And now I'm going to decorate. I don't want to paint this because I want to be able to use it for other things. And usually you don't think of white, you know, for Halloween. I did do the crackle effect on this, and it has like a jeweled knob on the top. So it's still kind of, you know, looks Halloweenish. So I'm going to drape this creepy cloth on there just to kind of help pull it all in together. Okay, let's take one final look at all of these projects. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.